Bitcoin most recently had a little surge to the upside by 1.4%, and this move to the upside actually hit our target range that we were talking about yesterday. The question is now, are we expecting more room to the upside, or is it just down from here? In today's video, I will be taking a look at the short and medium time frames and assessing whether or not I think Bitcoin has more room to the upside, or whether we should start thinking about the moves slightly deeper in price. As I get into today's video, if you do find it useful and informative, smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, and let's jump right down into the charts. We're going to kick things off on the 1 hour time frame here. So this is Bitcoin paired up with USDT, and Binance is our data source. What we're talking about specifically is this little move right here at 0200 hours on Sunday morning. This move topped out at $60,259, and our targeted range was 60,198 to 60,837. So we can see here that we hit our target range, and since we hit this, there was an immediate rejection and move to the downside. This move to the downside happened to fall in and found support on the 200 1-hour EMA. That's the white line coming through the chart here. Currently, that EMA is sat at 59,311 at the point of recording today's video. So the question is, are we thinking that this pump and dump, this liquidity grab as it appears, is just that, and we should start thinking about moves to the downside, or do we think there's a little bit more room to the upside? Well, for me, I think that there's a potential for both options, but we'll have to take a look at a few other tools and indicators to help us understand what is going on. Here you can see on the relative strength index that we are finding support at that 50 level, and we are looking for a bit of a run to the upside. This was after some hidden bullish divergence that you can see right here on the 1 hour time frame happening at 2100 hours last night. For context, guys, that is basically where we're finding support right here on the 200 EMA. This would have been a great place to have thought about going long once we kind of got that confirmation. We would have put our stop loss probably a little bit deeper than the 50 SMA, and our targeted range would have been just up here at this slightly higher range. Again, we would have been looking for a risk-reward ratio of around 1.5 as a minimum, and that would have basically have hit our target range here right on that low side at around $60,120 or so. We would have had a risk-reward ratio of about 1.59. That would have been a great play for BTC, and obviously some great profit using leverage. Obviously, if I were to be using leverage, I would be, of course, doing that on the BitGet or Bluefin exchanges, which are my go-to leverage-based platforms. Links are in the description below if you haven't yet signed up for them. Some fantastic offers and discounts available there, so do check it out. On our stochastic RSI, this is where we're starting to see a little bit of a shift. We might see further moves to the upside based on how momentum is correcting itself here on the 1 hour time frame. We're oversold on the 1 hour, overbought on the 4 hour. So our expectations are a small move to the upside, but ultimately we are looking for rejection, and we are looking for a shift to the downside. Okay, so although there might be another push to the upside here, we already note that this area of liquidity, or where liquidity was missing prior, might still be retested, and for that reason and that reason alone, I think we might actually push up into this targeted range once again and potentially hit that slightly higher range at around $60,800. But I don't think it's going to be long-lived, and I do think we're likely to see a big correction to the downside before we get into those bigger moves to the upside. And again, this is on the 1 hour time frame, and when I say that, that means that these particular moves, although they might seem really big on the charts because every candle only represents 1 hour, they are not big moves on a bigger macro scale. They are small trading opportunities that allow you to go long or go short, and don't really pay too much attention to them on the bigger macro. On the bigger macro scale, you're doing bigger swings where you're buying and holding for a significant period of time, or you're swing trading from the lows to the highs, or even leverage trading from the lows to the highs and the lows to the from the highs to the lows, right? And you can short and go long. In these particular types of trades on the macro time scale, they take weeks to months to play out. Okay, what I'm talking about here on the 1 hour time frame are some big volatility swings in terms of maybe like 4, 5, 6% moves that can be very, very lucrative for leverage-based trades. So I'm looking for a move up. I do think we're likely to hit back into this range between 60,198 and 60,837, but I don't think it's going to last. And this move to the upside is going to be subject to a lot of scrutiny as well. So I'll be looking quite closely here. We might see some more volatility before we get there. We might see just a straight move like we saw at the 0200 hour candle and the 0300 hour candle. But for the most part, we are hit our target range. We're kind of moving up to where the liquidity was missing, putting liquidity where it wasn't before. And again, this is in line with smart money concepts. This is an area that was missing. You can also note that we're basically finding support on the equilibrium. And it's also probably worth noting that we have a golden cross opportunity here, with the yellow line being the 50 SMA looking to cross higher than the 200 EMA. So on the 1 hour time frame, we do still have some bullish indicators and some bullish ideas of breaks to the upside. But I am not expecting our swing high to get broken, and that is up at $61,000, well, 61,800 exactly, and that is likely to hold. So I'm not thinking that that is going to get broken. Smart Money Concepts also has that as a strong high, and we have a weak low deeper in the price chart. So on this 1 hour time frame, the message is expect volatility, potentially expect the unexpected, but we are looking for a small move up, and this is where I think the opportunity will be for a big short position. We'll put a short in with a stop loss higher than the previous swing high. So let's just hypothetically say $61,900 approximately, and we'll put our targeted range back down towards our week low, somewhere in around, let's say, 56,500 to kind of give us a nice kind of area for potential gains TP here. But we might actually layer in some take profits, and we might actually also do a trailing stop, as I think this one could potentially slip down deeper than the current existing swing low on the 15th of August, 2000 hours. This is a risk reward ratio of about 3.95. And as I said earlier, if I am to be trading like this, I'm going to be trading using BitGet or 𝗲𝗂fin because they are my go-to platforms. I think they're very easy to use, self-intuitive, and they're just easy to use. Unlike some other platforms where there's some wicks that kind of liquidate you and all that kind of stuff, I haven't seen any of that on the BitGet or 𝗲𝗂fin exchanges. Very, very good. So do check them out if you haven't done so. Some fantastic offers available. That'll be my approach though. I'll be looking for a short this one. I don't think the long's kind of worth it. I'll be waiting for either confirmation that we kind of have a rejection here, taking a look at those candles, and then shorting the market into those lows. Again, we could, of course, short a little bit earlier if we want to, if we don't think necessarily that the price is going to go higher. But the golden cross is going to give a little bit of hope. And I think, we're potentially going to push back up into that 60K range for an additional retest, as I kind of hinted at yesterday. On our daily time frame, all of that volatility is kind of just noise. Okay, doesn't really show us a lot of what's going on. I expect us to move down a little bit deeper and then rally. So although there's that volatility, I'm expecting a bigger move down, where I am looking for us to potentially come down into these slightly deeper ranges of around $55,500. Okay, this potential move is going to be a precursor to a run where I think we're likely to be testing $68,000 to $70,000, this previous area, this previous high. Okay, and then that move is going to be met by an additional, unfortunately, crash to the downside, where we do then start thinking about the lows down here at that $40,000 to $43,000. Now, I think that's going to take a very long time to play out. We're not talking about one candle here representing 1 hour. We're talking about every candle being a daily chart. And so far, we've been tracking this move since March. So this potential structure, I think, is still holding up. It's taken months to get to where we are now, and I expect it to continue into the latter parts of 2024. But this is, of course, a precursor to a fantastic run to the upside when a new all-time high, that I do think will happen towards the end of 2024 and the beginning of 2025. We are targeting out a minimum of a six-figure Bitcoin, well over $100,000, 120, potentially push up to 135, depending on time and how long it takes. But you can see here that this is a precursor to that big, fantastic run. Every time we've seen a pattern like this, we have had a breakout. I'll show you a few just in the price chart. We can see one right down here. We can see another one just over here. We've got another one over here. And again, this is kind of something that you can kind of repeat over and over and over again. And what we've got going on right now is just on a much bigger scale. All these little ones, all these little corrections were liquidity extracting before we had the bigger surges. And what's been going on right now is a lot of liquidity is being extracted out of the market. And I think we're getting ready for a big run to the upside. Things are bubbling away in the background. Things are happening, but it does take time. Nothing is instantaneous. And it's important to kind of put in your own time horizons as to how long you think these things are going to take. But for me, 2025 is looking like a fantastic year for Bitcoin and for the wider crypto market. You guys can let me know what you think on all of this in the comments down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What's your Bitcoin long-term target? Let me know. We'd love to hear from you. If you found it useful and informative, smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe. And if you haven't done so yet, check out my second channel where I cover Cardano technical analysis. I'll put a card right up here.